You know what's funny? Thinking for yourself used to be normal. It used to be something everyone did naturally, like breathing or scratching an itch. But now, it's practically an act of rebellion. In this world, the moment you question something, boom, well, you're labeled a troublemaker, a conspiracy nut, or a just negative. You're not supposed to think independently anymore. You're supposed to consume thoughts that have already been pre-approved for you. Society's turned into this big mental drive-through where they hand you pre-packaged opinions with a smile. You don't even need to chew. Just swallow, nod, and repeat. That's the new model citizen. The problem is, once you stop thinking for yourself, someone else starts thinking for you. And believe me, the people who do that don't have your best interests in mind. They have their bank accounts, their power, and their control in mind. The last thing the system wants is a population capable of original thought. That's dangerous. Thinking people ask questions, they doubt authority, they don't buy every product or believe every slogan. Thinking people don't fit neatly into categories, and that makes them impossible to hurt. The truth is, independent thought is the only real rebellion left. Forget protests, forget hashtags, forget whatever movement is trending this week. The real revolution happens in your own head, when you decide to look at the world and say, wait a second, this doesn't make any damn sense. That's where it starts. But look around. How many people actually do that? Most folks are walking around with borrowed opinions, factory-installed beliefs, and secondhand outrage. Their minds aren't their own anymore. They're rented out to cable news, corporate slogans, and social media trends. People are parroting ideas that were never theirs to begin with. And they think that's thinking. It's not thinking, it's echoing. Real thinking takes effort, and nobody wants to put in the effort anymore. It's like mental exercise. Everyone wants a strong opinion, but no one wants to lift the weight of reason. When you think for yourself, you don't belong to a group anymore. You don't fit in. That scares people. Society's built on conformity, same jobs, same dreams, same fears. Once you break that cycle, you're seen as a threat. Because when one person starts thinking differently, others might follow. And that's the one thing those in charge can't control. You can't legislate thought. You can ban books, censor voices, control the news, but you can't crawl inside someone's skull and shut down their mind. At least, not yet. That's why the system tries so hard to distract you. Endless entertainment, fake debates, and digital noise keep your brain too busy to actually think. They've turned confusion into a business model. The moment you unplug from that and use your own judgment, you become unpredictable. And unpredictable people can't be sold, managed, or manipulated easily. That's why real independent thought will always be dangerous and always priceless. Because as long as you can think for yourself, they don't own you. Not yet anyway. The media, education, and advertising, they're the holy trinity of brainwashing. 3 institutions working hand in hand to make sure you don't think too much. Don't ask too many questions, and most importantly, don't notice who's really in charge. The media tells you what to care about, the schools tell you what to believe, and the advertisers tell you what to buy. It's a perfect little system. You grow up sitting in neat rows, learning how to memorize and obey. They don't teach you how to think, they teach you what to think. You get gold stars for following directions and punishment for asking questions that make the teacher uncomfortable. Then, when you graduate, you're handed over to the media and told, here's how the world works. They don't report news anymore. They manufacture it. They decide what's important, who's the villain, who's the hero, and what outrage you're supposed to feel this week. It's not journalism. It's emotional programming. They feed you a steady diet of fear, gossip, and distraction, and call it information. Meanwhile, the advertisers are right there, whispering in your ear. They're not happy they say you, but you could be if you buy this. They sell you insecurity, then sell you the cure. They tell you you're not pretty enough, smart enough, rich enough, or young enough. And they'll keep reminding you of that until you spend your last dollar trying to fix it. And the best part, it works. Billions of dollars are made every year convincing people to buy things they don't need, with money they don't have, to impress people they don't like. That's the magic trick. They've turned self-doubt into a $1 trillion economy. You're not supposed to feel whole. You're supposed to feel slightly broken, because broken people keep buying things. It's psychological slavery with a smiley face logo, and it all loops together. The schools create obedient workers who don't question authority. The media keeps them distracted and divided, too busy arguing over nonsense to notice the bigger picture. And the advertisers make sure they stay on the hamster wheel, always chasing the next shiny object. It's genius, really evil genius, but still genius. The system doesn't need chains or prisons. It uses screens and slogans. People willingly hand over their attention, their time, and their minds. They scroll for hours, absorbing ideas that were carefully designed to shape how they think, vote, and live. That's not free thought. That's programmed thought running on autopilot. Once in a while, someone breaks out of it. Someone looks around and says, "Wait, this is all nonsense." And the system immediately labels them as crazy or dangerous. They can't have that spreading. The biggest threat to control is curiosity, the simple act of asking a why. That's the question every ruler fears. So they drown it out with noise, ads, entertainment, trends, political theater. Anything to keep you from noticing the invisible strings. The truth is, you're not being educated. You're being conditioned. You're not being informed. You're being sold. And until you see through that illusion, they'll keep running the show. Because the most effective prison is the one you don't even know you're in. Freedom of thought is the last real freedom we have left. And even that's hanging by a thread. You can't say much anymore without someone getting offended, reporting you, or trying to cancel you. Everyone's free to speak until they say something that doesn't fit the official narrative. Then suddenly it's a misinformation, or a hate speech, or a dangerous ideas. Funny how the truth becomes dangerous the moment it stops making money for the people in charge. Real freedom isn't about waving a flag or singing an anthem. It's about having the right to use your own mind. But look around. Every day that right gets a little smaller. They can't tax your thoughts yet, but give them time. They're working on it. Because the minute they figure out how to turn ideas into revenue, you'll be paying a monthly subscription just to think independently. What they've done is brilliant. They don't even have to ban thoughts anymore. They just drown them in noise. They've built a culture where people are too distracted to think deeply, too scared to speak honestly, and too conditioned to realize it. Everyone's performing for an invisible audience, polishing their digital identity while their real personality collects dust in the corner. The internet was supposed to make people more connected, but it's made them more controlled. Every thought you share, every opinion you post gets monitored, categorized, and fed back to you in an algorithm designed to keep you predictable. They know what makes you angry, what makes you laugh, what makes you click, and that's all they need to control what you think next. You're not thinking freely. You're reacting on cue. It's no accident. The system doesn't want thinkers, it wants reactors. Thinkers are dangerous because they stop playing the game. They see through the illusion, the fake choices, the false debates. They don't buy the nonsense that freedom means voting between 2 corporate-sponsored candidates or choosing between 10 identical brands of garbage. Real thinkers ask questions that make people uncomfortable. Questions like, who's profiting from this? Or why do I need permission to be myself? And that's when society labels them as cynical, unpatriotic, or crazy. Because in a world built on lies, the truth sounds insane. People have gotten so used to being told what to think that genuine independent thought feels like rebellion. But it's not rebellion, it's survival. Freedom of thought is like a muscle. Stop using it and it gets weak. Most people haven't flexed it in years. They just absorb, repeat, and scroll. That's why the few who do think for themselves stand out like fireworks in the dark. They remind everyone else what freedom actually looks like. But that freedom won't last forever if people keep trading it for comfort, convenience, and approval. Every time you censor yourself to fit in, every time you accept a lie because it's easier than the truth, you give away a piece of that freedom. And one day you'll wake up to find your thoughts aren't yours anymore. They're sponsored, filtered, and taxed. So while it's still free, think for yourself. Because someday soon, even that might come with a price tag. So when it comes down to it, thinking for yourself isn't just a clever slogan. It's the last act of rebellion in a world built to keep you quiet, compliant, and comfortably numb. They've got the schools shaping your beliefs, the media feeding you fear, and the corporations selling you fake happiness in shiny packaging. And through it all, they whisper the same lie, that freedom still exists. But real freedom doesn't live in their slogans or their politics. It lives in your ability to see through the noise and decide for yourself what's real and what's bullshit. That's the one thing they can't completely control yet. The moment you stop letting them tell you what to think, what to buy, what to fear, you take back the only power that's ever really been yours. Your mind. And maybe that's what scares them the most. Because a population that thinks for itself can't be manipulated, divided, or bought. So while it's still free, and it won't be forever, use it. Think for yourself. Question everything. Because once you stop doing that, you don't need change. You'll already be owned.